Do you know why European kings could only pass the crown to the queen's child, while Asian emperors could recognize any wife's son as an heir? Roman and Christian law allowed only one legal marriage, so only the queen's children could inherit the throne. Also, in Europe's feudal kingdoms, political and military power was split among nobles. Clear succession rules were needed to avoid civil war. However, in Asia, powerful emperors ruled vast centralized empires, where multiple wives and their sons could all inherit. From one queen's heir to many royal sons, different succession laws unfolded the history of Europe and Asia in very different ways. Do you know who is the king that had the most wives in history? Surprisingly, he was not from ancient China or the Arab world. The Hebrew Bible says King Solomon of ancient Israel had 700 wives and 300 concubines, when Jews still practiced polygamy. These marriages were more than romance. They were political alliances with neighboring kingdoms across the region. Historians still debate whether these numbers were literal or symbolic, representing Solomon's wealth and influence. Whether legend or fact, the story of Solomon's 700 wives remains one of the most extraordinary royal mysteries in history. Do you know that a king's long reign can become his heir's tragedy, and might not be the best for the kingdom either? Ramses II ruled for 66 years, outliving most of his sons. His firstborn, Amenhotep, died about 30 years before his father. The Bible's story of the 10 plagues names the firstborn's death as divine punishment, but history suggests the prince lived into his 40s or 50s. Louis XIV, the Sun King, reigned 72 years, outliving his son and grandsons. The crown passed to his 5-year-old great-grandson. When a king reigns too long, the crown may pass to whoever survives, which might leave the kingdom with a weak successor. Do you know that in China's grand dynastic history, it was quite uncommon for a queen's own son to become emperor? Across the major Chinese dynasties, succession laws favored the queen's first son. But reality was often very different. Across major dynasties, barely 1 in 4 emperors were born to the official empress, and even the highest dynasty reached only about 30%. Even with rules favoring the empress's eldest son, politics, coups, illness, and accidents often changed the line of succession. In the end, the crown was never guaranteed to the queen's son, and that uncertainty shaped the fate of China's empires. Do you know that in medieval Europe, noblemen typically married in their mid-20s to 30s, while noblewomen were often only 14 to 18? Medieval noblemen often delayed marriage until their 30s or even 40s, waiting until they gained land, a title, or a good political alliance. However, noble women married as early as 14, often to secure political alliances, strike favorable marriage deals, and ensure heirs. William Marshall, the legendary knight of medieval England, was a perfect example, marrying at 42 to his 17-year-old bride, Isabel de Clare. In the world of medieval nobility, marriage was rarely about love. It was a calculated move, shaped by politics, ambition, and the race against time. Do you know that only royal children born in the purple room of the Great Palace were seen as true heirs in the Byzantine Empire? Born in the purple, or porphyrogenitos in Greek, meant being born while your father was already emperor, not before. A younger prince born in the purple was more likely to become emperor than his older brother, no matter how ready he was to rule. However, the reality was different. Only about 10 to 15% of Byzantine emperors were born in the purple. It was a rare honor, not a norm. Purple, the color only allowed to emperors in the Byzantine Empire. It was the emperor's ultimate symbol of power, legacy, and divine right. Do you know that the Roman Empire had around 40 different royal family names across both the ancient empire and its eastern half? The Roman Empire was not like a typical dynasty. It wasn't ruled by one family, but by emperors from different backgrounds, regions, and even ethnicities. The royal families of the Roman Empire ranged from noble Roman senators to powerful military commanders, provincial outsiders, and Greek-speaking elites. New royal families never changed the empire's name because Rome was the ultimate symbol of legitimacy, power, and divine authority. The Roman Empire didn't belong to a single family, but to any family powerful enough to seize the throne and claim the name of Rome. A Roman emperor, one of the most powerful roles in history. But do you know how long they actually ruled on average? Across the Western Empire, 80 emperors ruled, each for just 6 years on average. But some eras were far deadlier than others. During the Golden Years, emperors ruled for 15 years. But in the crisis of the 3rd century, they barely survived 2 years. In the Eastern Empire, Byzantium, reigns lasted longer, 95 emperors ruled for nearly 9 years each on average. In the end, Roman emperors ruled for only 7 to 8 years on average. The crown was too heavy to hold for long.